There they go into the back. The blue line on. We have a race, and Satnova's beaten Pure Steel out by a length and a half.
Welcome to Talking Trots, hosted by Mortz and Michael Radley on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
The sensational Sydney sider Seals to Sam comes off the back straight. He's a bucket load of alliteration, this fellow.
Scott Bomber Hill will join the boys to look at the Friday night meeting at Gloucester Park, and Hayden King will find the winners for the weekend's racing.
Here comes Quinny. I'm the mighty Queen is 4 deep and letting go.
Sit back and enjoy Talking Trots with Mortz and Michael Radley.
I'm the mighty Queen is just in front. Dasher VC can do no more, and the West Australian champion has done it again.
The Galaxy and Prime Mover is back on the pegs as they turn for home. Lewis is staring down the barrel here of 6,000 with Pete's on him, Manir on the outside, taking ground off the favourite. He's got enough up his sleeve. It's Pete's Honour in front of Manir, and history in the making for the master. Chris Lewis, 6,000 wins. Pete's Honour just about all the way.
Yeah, what a magnificent achievement by the great AC Lewis. 6,000 wins as a driver. And he joins the greats Chris Alford and Gavin Lang as the only Australian drivers to drive 6,000 or more winners, and the first, obviously, in WA to do so. And what a wonderful achievement it is by the master reinsman, AC Lewis. And as I said, yeah, a great performance, and history was made at Pinjarra on Monday on Pete's Honour, and it was only apt that he did it on a Gemma Heyman Ross Oliveri horse, because I don't think he's driven more winners for any other trainer than Ross and now Gemma, and it was only apt that he won on Pete's Honour for a combination that he's had so much success with over the years, and congratulations to Chris. Mortz isn't here with me this week, but I'm joined by Hayden King, and Hayden, what a wonderful achievement it was by Chris Lewis.
I think the first word you think of, Michael, when you think of Chris Lewis is respect. And I think that was the sentiment provided by Fred Kersley and Gary Hall Jr. in an article that Tim Walker wrote during the week as well. He was a fierce competitor, but he's also very fair about it. And you have to respect the longevity that Chris has been around for, and he's admired by his peers. I can say that safely. Oh,
well, you talk to Junior and you say, who's the hardest to drive against? And he still says Chris Lewis. Like, he just doesn't give an inch on the track. And there's probably no one better than rating a leader than Chris Lewis. It's probably what he's most famous for, his famous hands and rating of a horse. And as we said, he joins two of the greats in Chris Alford and Gavin Lang. And from WA, where we don't have as many meetings, such a wonderful achievement. And as I said, like, won the Inter-Dominion in 76. When you weren't born, I was on the way.
My dad was actually born in 76.
Yeah, so, well, I was born in 76. Yeah. So, but yeah, what a wonderful achievement from the master. Mortz isn't here with us this week, so you're filling in. Thank you for stepping into the breach, as you normally do, and you probably host the show more than we do these days.
Well, it's probably a 33% split three ways, but yeah, very happy to step up.
We might have to change the opener.
We'll just add the edit in, and Hayden.
Yeah. I'll see if Greg can do it for us. I'll see. You'll send it down the line from Randwick next week. Big show this week. We're about to talk to Mick Stanley, who's got a big weekend. Rock and Roll do goes around the Kilmore Cup, but he's got Soho Seraphine coming over here to race in the WA Oaks next week, but has a pipe opener at Gloucester Park this week.
Drawn wide, but we get to get a real guide on where she's at, because admittedly she will strike a field that is easier than the Oaks, so she needs to be at least very competitive in this to be stamping her claim as one of the chief chances in the big one next week.
Mortz usually goes through the winners. We're not going to go through that. You haven't?
Well, I can tell you this. It's been a big week for Gary Hall Jr. Had 2 trebles, and then he drove 4 yesterday, so that's 10 right there. And it's
God bless him as well. He drove 1 for us.
Well done to him for that one. And worth mentioning, Shannon Savalco. A real red-letter day on Sunday.
At Kilmore.
Yeah, that's nothing to be sneezed at all. Like, even if you have a good book of drives, it's never easy to deliver, and everything turned out well for Shannon. And it was a real sterling result for him, and a lot of connections that he's closely associated with out there at Kilmore. So a really good day for them.
It sure is. All right, our guest is standing on the line, Mick Stanley from Victoria. And let's go back 3 starts for Soho Seraphine, where she has come over here to Gloucester Park to tackle the Oaks. She went around in the heat of the Vic-bred 3-year-old fillies in the heat. She ended up running fourth in the final, but this is her heat victory for Mick Stanley.
Chinchilla went to second. Perfect and Pink is out 3 deep. Soho Seraphine with nowhere to go on the inside, and Chiripo 3 back on the pegs. Elysian J shaken up as now Soho Seraphine gets out. Perfect and Pink nearest to us, followed by Chinchilla. Elysian J folding up. It's reeled in by Soho Seraphine and Perfect and Pink. Soho Seraphine took the lead in the centre. Soho Seraphine got the prize a half head to Perfect and Pink.
Yeah, that was Soho Seraphine winning the heat of the Vic-bred. She comes over to Gloucester Park to race against our best fillies in the WAX, and it's a great pleasure to introduce her trainer, Mick Stanley. Mick, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thanks, Mick and Hayden. Thanks for having me on.
Mate, you're not here in WA, but you've sent the filly over with your father, Ian, and how's the reports that she's settled in?
Yeah, she's really well. Dad, he does most of the travelling for us. With managing a big stable, you need people that you can trust to look after the horses when they go away. And Dad's been the travelling foreman for a long time for the stable, so he's reported back that she's settled in really well and taking everything in her stride. And look, she's a well-travelled filly. She's been to Sydney and back quite a number of times in her short career already. And I'm sure that, a flight to Perth, we were lucky enough to get her on the plane. She didn't have to do the road trip. So I'm sure that hasn't taken too much out of her. And, reports are she's settled in well.
Mate, she's got a great record. She's won 7 of 23 with 13 minors, and including that is a second in the New South Wales Oaks. And she's just never far away and mixed it with, as you say, the best, not only in Victoria but travelling as well.
Yeah, she's a great filly. She's right up there with the best of them, in the eastern states here. There's no doubt about that. She's been really unlucky with her barrier draws. I think most of the time when we've hit the big races, she's drawn poorly. And that's carried on into Friday night. But that's okay. We won't hold that again.
If you draw well next week, you won't care.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, yeah, she's been extremely unlucky. Over here a lot of the time, in those big races, she's had to race 4 to 6 Emma Stewart runners. So it's been extremely difficult, and she's still got a great record. So it just shows that she's a high-class filly and she's very durable. I think that replay you just showed probably the first time she's ever won taking a sit. That's very rare for her. Normally she's the one having to make the work on her own and put herself into the race. So, she's a nice filly.
Mick, she led that New South Wales Oaks from 10, so clearly she's got a heap of gate speed. For us in the West who don't know her quite so well, what do you think her best asset is?
Look, I think her toughness is her best asset, and, that's probably one thing I just touched on before. She's really had to, most of her career, she's had to do it tough. I think, that's going to take her a long way, and, she does have really good gate speed, but, great gate speed at Melton and Menangle, where you have a long run in, is different to Gloucester Park. I've been to Gloucester Park a few times, so we're really aware of that. That's not to be unsolved, but I think that the reason we bought her is over there is because we think she's really durable. We bought Soho Burning Love over there a number of years ago, and she probably wasn't as durable, and it didn't pay off. So we've waited quite a few years to get a filly that we thought we could bring over and be a chance. There's some really nice fillies over there. Augustus Moon and Turn the Page are good fillies, and we know it's not going to be easy. If we don't draw well, they're going to be really hard to beat still. But if we draw well, we think we can be right in it. So hence why we're there.
You can't make it over this week. You've got Kyle Harper engaged for the drive. Will you head over for the Oaks?
Yeah, I'll be over next week. I've got Rock and Roll due in the Kilmore Cup on Friday night. So, you know, for Rob's sake, I'll say it was a 50-50 flip of the coin. But no, look, it's one of those things. Kyle's trained a couple for Rob in the past, and he's a really he's a great driver over there, and I think Mitch Miller drives for Rob at the moment. Most of his horses, but he was already engaged. Gary Hall Jr., who, there's no question he's the best driver over there, but he's sort of already tied up with Augustus Moon, so, get him to try and fill in. Well, to be honest, at the time Augustus Moon was nominated for this race, so, I got in early and got Kyle. Just thought Kyle would suit the filly, and that was really the main reason why we booked Kyle.
Rock and Roll Do, you mentioned him. He's going around in the Kilmore Cup on the same night. He's come back really well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Well documented, frustrating start to the year after coming back from New Zealand. We had a few niggling problems, and we just needed a good spell. Probably him and myself at the start of the year, but he's really come back in good fashion, and super happy to pick off a couple of races early on the preparation, which we hadn't even earmarked. So hopefully the rest of the campaign, will be really exciting.
But the Kilmore Cup, it looks a tough race tomorrow night. Act Now has drawn the pole, you've drawn the river, and Better Eclipse has drawn behind Act Now. So your two main dangers have drawn beautifully, and you're the one doing all the work.
Yeah, there's a consistent theme here that we spoke about earlier, isn't there? Nah, look, I always say with Rock and Roll Do, I remember, a couple of times he drew really well. He drew 2 or 3, or he drew 1, and everyone says, it's a bad draw because he has no gate speed, and then you draw 7, and it's a bad draw because you draw wide. So I haven't worked out what's a good draw for him yet. But look, one thing with him is he's versatile. He's fast. He's strong. Which you need to be if you're at the elite level like he is, like he's shown. So, we can really drive the race as it unfolds. If they're going hard early, we can take a sit. If they're going slow, we can go forward. So, it really makes the job easy, and he's in good shape. So I'm sure no matter how the race unfolds, he'll be amongst it late at some stage.
Do you have a plan tomorrow night with Soho Seraphine from that awkward drawing 8? I think we just send her forward. The main reason she's there is to have a look around the track, but she's a pretty cruisy filly. She normally wears no boots at all, so she's a well-gated filly and what have you. We'll send her forward. Hopefully she doesn't have to sit outside the leader, but if she does, she's done it before. It's not something that she's not accustomed to. So there's no point going back and being out the back in those small fields and letting people dictate to you. So we'll put her into the race.
Mate, owned by Rob Watson. Geez, you've had a great relationship with Rob, who's a WA and proud WA person. But you've really struck up a great combination over the last 5-6 years.
Yeah, definitely have. Rob and I have become mates more than we have been, owner and trainer over a number of years now. We have quite a few passions that we both have outside of horse racing, and he's a great guy. He's been unbelievably supportive for myself and my family, and can't thank him enough. And he always, is at me if we get a good horse to come over for the good races there, because he does love watching them race. So, it'd be great to get over there. And I don't get to see Rob that often, even though we have a great relationship. We don't see each other that often. So it'd be great to get over there and see him, and hopefully the filly can put her best foot forward.
Now, speaking of coming over, any chance last year you were originally selected by Ladbrokes for the Grins in New Zealand slot race. You didn't quite make it there, but the way he's going, Rock and Roll Do, is there any chance we can see you in WA for the slot race, the Nullarbor?
Yeah, there's always a chance. I think the options are aplenty, aren't they, now for the free-for-all horses? But, it's interesting now with those two races being on at the same time. The 2600 probably suits Rock and Roll do better than the 2100 at Cambridge, and I think at the end of the day, whoever strikes up the best deal is probably where you can head to, isn't it? I think it leaves your options open and gives you plenty of things to work towards. So we're definitely always open.
Yeah, we might have to have a word to Adam and Dean and see if we can get Ladbrokes to lock you up and bring you over for the Nullarbor, and then, stay for the Retrovision Fremantle Cup the week after. It'd be great to have you here. Mick, it's great that you've brought this filly over. Really appreciate it, and with Rob as well. Great. Good luck on Friday night, but it'd be great to catch up with you the following Friday night when you come over to Driver.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thanks for having me, and see you over there.
Good on you, Mick. We'll see you here next week. There's Mick Stanley, and he's a good fella, Mick. Known him for a long time. He has worked for Luke McCarthy when I first met him up there, and we had some fun times. He's a good fella and done a great job with the Soho horses and Rock and Roll. Won a Victoria Cup, and he's a good fella.
Yeah, well, he's won a stack of Group 1s already, Michael, so he's done a really good job as both a trainer and a driver, so he could add to that next Friday almost immediately. So could be double digits of Group 1s for him very soon. Yeah,
it's certainly great. Now, this segment, Hayden, is brought to you by Retrovision, your local WA electrical appliance specialist. RAC members receive an additional 5% every day. There's the Superstore at Joondalup. All your needs, go and see, electrical needs, go and see the team at Retrovision. Our man Glenn Mortimer from Retrovision isn't here, Hayden. He wasn't at Bunbury yesterday either.
That's how you know he's busy.
Yes.
Takes a fair bit to keep him away from Never Ending.
Never Ending. And so much so I had to actually collect the trophy on his behalf. He's collected it already this morning. But he's heading over. I think he's taken it over to Victoria with him just so he can parade it around the MCG.
Yeah, okay. It's probably... They've got the Premiership Cup. He's got the Battle of Bunbury Cup.
Yeah, exactly, same thing.
Yeah.
But what a performance by Never Ending yesterday. You were there working for Rawa with the Twitter, and you interviewed Junior. But what a performance. Just unbelievable how good this horse is.
If you haven't listened to the interview, I'd urge you to do it.
On the Trots WA Twitter page.
Yeah. It's been really good to talk to Junior after both of Never Ending's last two wins, and he said down the back straight that there might have been a tailwind through that 26.6, but I pointed out that if there was a tailwind, then there was a headwind up the home straight, which means he's gone into a headwind and finished off in 27.1. 53.7 the final half. It's absolutely smoking. I wouldn't have seen a faster last half than that on probably any track in WA. About a winner in my time in harness racing just speaks volumes of how good this horse is.
Well, the actual ease of it as well. Like, I actually spoke to Junior afterwards, just before you went in an interview, and he said, imagine what would have happened if I let him go.
Imagine what would happen if he pulled the hood. He might get windburn.
And there was a few horses, it was pretty warm yesterday, and a few horses actually travelled, obviously, from warmer parts of the state as well. But it did affect a few horses, and I know Justin was a little bit worried about how they were getting ready because it was the first hot day, and there was a few that not just affected by the heat, but a few other things going on. But it was a magnificent performance because to go out there and roll through them, but he's just got this high cruising speed, which is just amazing. Like he just does it in his own. Like, as I said, just high cruising speed.
One of the most impressive things about those external factors you mentioned was there was the false start.
Oh.
And I mentioned to Junior in the pre-race interview, I said, is there anything that can beat him today? And he said, maybe if he does the same thing when he made that mistake at the start.
Yeah.
But he had two goes at it yesterday, and he had the opportunity to get stirred up, but he handled it with aplomb. He was very comfortable. And I think the scariest part about him as a horse is the fact that he's still a bit of a big baby. He's still a bit raw. Like, I don't think we've seen him at his professional best yet, and he's still able to do that, which shows the best.
Well, he's still learning because he can be a bit fizzy, as Junior has said. And Junior said, if Justin's the best trainer for this horse, because if it was probably with someone else, the horse could be almost uncontrollable the way that his manners are. But a credit to Justin as well to make sure that he's got through. Only had the 12 starts, knowing how good he is. Won 11, made the one mistake in the other race. The world's his oyster, I think.
Yeah, let's face it. The only thing that is between him and a perfect record is that one mistake he made on one occasion. So,
and don't worry, the East are looking. They are looking, and they realise how good he is, and there's already talk about eureka spots and all that sort of stuff, and rightly so.
It is the first time in a while we've had a potential genuine superstar in the West. It's probably been since Quinny, you would say.
Well, and even so, as like a younger horse coming through, this is the horse that I said to Junior, if you're ready to fly around the country in this horse, he said, well, this horse deserves it. So, they're getting ready as well. So it'd be great to see him go over and tackle him.
Yeah, it'd be interesting for Junior. I have spoken to him about that.
He's not the best flyer.
He says he's gotten better, but when he went on that holiday to Bali 2 or 3 months ago, he said he's all right once he gets there, because then he knows, like, he's there and he has to get home. Yeah. So the way home's okay, but it's actually getting off the ground and getting out there.
I'm tipping if he knows the horse is there, he'll be there.
Yeah.
Justin's got to get the horse there. But what a horse he is. And he's going to roll through. I'd imagine he'll go the Western Gateway and then the Derby. 2 weeks.
Yep.
So I would imagine the plan for Never Ending. And once again, and the crop of 3-year-old boys are pretty good. But he's just head and shoulders above the rest. He's a different gravy. Let's go to the break and let's play Never Ending and the Battle of Bunbury. Here's Matty Young's call.
Into the straight, Junior. He's not animated. He leads into the straight by about 10 metres. Hull St. Louis, Mickey's Beach is going to fly up the sprint lane. Copper Coat, Call Me What You Want, Rolling Fire, but it's Never Ending. He is a star talent. He's in beast mode and he cruises down to the line to win. Never Ending wins the Battle of Bunbury over second. Hull St.
You are listening to Talking Trots with Mortz and Michael Radley.
On the outside of Castella Dell'Acqua, they're clear. Zafira is getting into the clear. August Moon doesn't look like running a place. Turn the page after Castella Dell'Acqua. Turn the page on the outside. Put the nose in front as Roberts again. Turn the page in front of Castella Dell'Acqua and Zafira, and Turn the Page has won it from the breeze. The Dainty's daughter goes to the bonds, and Turn the Page from Castella Dell'Acqua.
Yeah, Turn the Page for Team Bond. Denny Roberts, another feature race winner. Group 3, $50,000 Dainty's Daughter Classic. Had to sit outside Castella Dell'Acqua. August Moon didn't get into the race, but a lot of these fillies will go straight into the Oaks and maybe tackle Soho Seraphine, who's in the first tomorrow night. But another great performance from the team on the back of Still the Show, winning the race before Hayden, and she was pretty good. As daughter of Vincent as well.
Yeah, really attractive, gorgeous-looking filly. Turn the Page, big, imposing, and I think the drive could easily be understated because you could say went to the breeze, bossed it from there. But she also had to be very mindful of the fact of the quirks Turn the Page possesses. She gets pretty indolent and lonely out in front, so she had to collar Castella Dell'Acqua at the right time and then consider any dangers coming from behind. So it was a well-thought-out plan by Denny.
Yeah, and very good drive, got the cash, did the hard work, and the daughter of Vincent, as I said, will go through to the Oaks next week, and it's shaping to be a really good Oaks with August Moon, Zafira, all looking to try and turn the tables on Turn the Page. Castella Dell'Acqua as well there, and as I said, Soho Seraphine in the first tomorrow night. All right, let's get into our Before we do, this segment is brought to you by our good friends at Steel Blue Boots. Built for comfort, made for work. 376 stockists nationwide. It's a mark of true skill. And you can view the entire range of premium work boots, the best in the business, at steelblue.com. Ross Fitzgerald, they're all away this week. He wasn't even there to pick up the Never Ending trophy either. But
maybe that's what happens. They just expect the win, so they just know they'll just get it.
Mate, I'm tipping they'll be at Gloucester Park in a couple of weeks for the Western Gateway, and they'll definitely be there for the Sky Racing Derby in the first week of November. All right, tell you what, it was a tough week last week on many fronts, and the punt was one of them as we work in Scott Bomber Hill. Bomber, a bit of a wipeout last week.
Complete wipeout, Rats. Didn't get warm at all, unfortunately, but hopefully we'll put that behind us and have a much better night tomorrow night.
Yeah, no doubt. As I said, money lost, nothing lost, confidence lost, everything lost, and we haven't lost any confidence, so we got to get straight into it this week because we know you're under time constraints, Bomber, and the first race we're going to look at is race number 3. It's an 11-race card tomorrow night. The feature race is the Group 1 Golden Slipper, and we'll actually preview that next race. And the first of the races this week is, as I go to Gloucester Park, is at 5:10, 11 races, as I said, and the feature is the Group 1 Golden Slipper for Channel 7. Let's have a look at the market for race number 3. The first we got to have a look at, and What's Up Sunshine for the very much in form Gary Hall Jr. at 160, scratch 2, 3 Classic Choice at $7.50, the Kraken $51, I'm a 5-Star General $5, Hillview Bondi at $12, Rocker Ball at $41, Valentine's Brook at $5.50, Lamandiere, a winner last week at $126, and Star of Diamonds at $12. Bomber, what do you think of race number 3?
Yeah, going to open up really hard tomorrow night, Rads, with What's Up Sunshine. I think he'll hold up from the pole despite the front row start favouring those wider, and Junior will just time it to perfection, and I cannot see how they beat him in front, to be honest. We can forget about his last start where he never got into it at any stage, but he still broke 56 on the way home, and 2 starts back, he sat leaders back in a 153 mile, and he was all over them late to run third there in a 56.4 last half, and he had to work himself into the clear in doing that as well. He's led 3 times in the West and remains unbeaten, and I just think he'll lead and win.
I agree wholeheartedly, Bomber. Michael Young has to be one of the luckiest men. I'm a terribly unlucky man. He is pretty lucky because last Friday I was there and he said, I wish What's Up Sunshine would draw 1. Next week, bang, straight there. How are we playing this first one, Bomber?
Yeah, we're going to open up the shoulders straight up in a 5-unit bet. As I said, I'm very bullish. He just leads and wins. I think he'll start much shorter than $1.60.
Yeah, okay, that is race number 3, and he should. You imagine he'll firm off that, and I'd imagine that the preview tomorrow there'll be plenty of the tipsters joining you, Bomber. But I tell you what, Bomber, last week Morts was very excited. I sat down with Morts and Ross in Steelos, and the table behind us was a big table, Bomber. You would have loved it. It was it was our 4 listeners, and we could have done our show live just to these 4 listeners. It was the powerful Michael Young, Hayden King, Matty Joss, and Pike in the Last.
Oh.
Pike in the Last was there. I've never seen Mort so excited to meet someone from Twitter. And Hayden was holding court with a powerful Michael Young, and I tell you what, Morts was almost beside himself. And as I said, we could have done the show live just to our 4 listeners. The 4 listeners was actually at the table behind us.
Yeah, well, we've seen.
I thought you were going to say there was a few Essendon players or something there. Right?
No. We've seen Morts after a feature race win. I think he was more delighted last Friday.
Yes, no, Pike in the Last. I've never seen him. I've never seen him more excited than our good friend Pike in the Last, who got his picture taken with Lamandiere.
Oh, did he? Yeah, well, I got invited to the photo, but I thought, better not. I feel like a bit of an imposter after my horse lost, and then I just go and try and get in some winning photo.
Anyway, it was a powerful table, Bomber. And, as I said, Mort's, that's why he probably needs a holiday to get over it. Let's have a look at the market for Tab Touch of our main race tomorrow night. It's the Group 1 Channel 7 Golden Slipper. Worth $150,000 over the 2130 metres, and we've got from the pole Brought to Light for Chris Voke at $9.50. Manhattan Moon, Gary Hall Jr. jumps aboard $5.50. And he's been solid at that price as well. Grand Coutreau at $10. Vegas Stripper's the favourite open 240, got out to 260 into 215 favourite now, Vegas Strip. Denny Roberts taking the drive for Team Bond. Exceptional Armour, $8.50. He's a Vibe at $61. Armour Believer at $26. Ideal Muscle, $34. 10 to the dozen. This horse can't draw a barrier. Although 91 into $34 on Tab Touch. Inside the back line, Grievous, who's performed so well in these 2-year-old races at $5.50 and solid. The Little Master at $13. Cork Can Run at $31. Bomber, the Group 1 Golden Slipper for Channel 7. How do you see the race panning out?
Yeah, another one I'm pretty keen on in Vegas Strip. He's a very quick beginner, and I think he'll cross. And from there, to be honest, again, I can't have him beaten. He had to burn to the lead from the outside over the mile last time. It's left him a bit vulnerable to Grievous off his back, and they beat the others comfortably there. And I can't see anything going up and testing him enough to make it hard for him late. And he does have that sort of 56 and change in his locker kit there for the run home. And I just think he's another one that'll lead and win.
I don't know. That race at Gloucester Park where he led on the back foot was matching him early, and then last week he came out in reverse. So I don't know. He might lead and he might win, but I'm not as confident as you, Bomber, so we'll see who ends up with egg on their face. It's probably going to be me. How many units here?
Yeah, another 3-unit bet. Which one do you think could hold him out, Hayden?
Manhattan Moon's the one I had.
Yeah, righto.
I know he doesn't have exceptional gate speed, but Hall Jr. just has a knack of firing these horses out, just getting an extra half length out of them. So if he can lead, I'd give him a bold chance of taking it out.
All right, there's from $5.50 for Manhattan Moon, $2.15 for Vegas Strip. I think I'm in the Vegas Strip camp. I'm a big fan of this horse. I think what he's done since he's been in WA from New Zealand. I think, and talking to the team as well. I don't know whether you've spoken to Denny or Gregor Sky Bond, but they're excited every time they talk about this horse. So I'm with Vegas Strip. But
yeah, he needs to improve off that last run, but I think he's much better than he showed that night. So,
but if there's a trainer who can win a Golden Slipper, it's
JP.
It's JP. And tell you what, the 2-year-old last week was action-packed, to say the least. And in the run, Manhattan Moon is the only horse you really wanted to be on, Hayden, wasn't he?
Yeah, just sitting on a hot speed. Well, the leader had bolted away. Armour Believer was left to cart up the rest of the brigade, and immediately sitting bang on his hammer, Manhattan Moon. And his form, although it didn't read well numerically, he'd actually been going quite well. Like, he got pushed right off the track, and there was one run he was making a lot of stealthy late progress behind them. So he did deserve that win, and it banked him a spot in the slipper, and he comes in as a live chance.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's $5.50. Let's listen to last week's concluding station of the Retrovision 2-year-old and Hayden's tip for the Golden Slipper, Manhattan Moon.
Well clear in 4th place, brought to light. Further back in the field, off the charts, whose run came to an end. Here's Manhattan Moon, though, coming down the outside, racing up to Armour Believer and hitting the fronts all over. Manhattan Moon is streaking away here for Edgerton Green from Armour Believer and Cabochon, and Manhattan Moon wins it in a bit of an upset affair. Manhattan Moon goes home to beat Armour Believer and Cabochon, and 4th home.
Talking Trots with Mortz and Michael Radley on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
Behind them is High Price around the turn, though. El Casanova looks to be doing it easily. As race clear now, 6 metres in front of Lusaka, and then came My Ultimate Baxter, but a very smart horse, El Casanova. Mr. Editorial ran into 4th place, but El Casanova won easily over Lusaka, My Ultimate Baxter and Mr. Editorial.
Yeah, bittersweet for the team with El Casanova, the Pikes and Gary Sayers. It was a race-to-race double for the team, with C. Ryan Fire winning race 9, but before that, El Casanova winning the team Bond pace. He looks very good, Hayden. Unfortunately, it looks like he's injured himself again, which is just devastating news for the team, because he looks like he's got so much promise. Won 8 of 11 with 2 minors and just won as easy as he wanted to on Friday night, but he looked sore coming off the track.
Yeah, even up the home straight on that last occasion, he was still doing enough to win, but I don't think he looked totally comfortable, and it's a credit to the horse that he stuck it out in the fashion he did. Terrible luck for Connections. It's the 4th time he's done the tendon, so it's a real shame, and hopefully I know he's 5 now, but hopefully we get to see him back at the track in the same vein of form as he was showing, because he was really exciting plenty of people, I'm sure.
Yeah, and really unfortunate for the team, the Pikes. They can find a good horse, and they get nice horses coming through. Unfortunately, that El Casanova looks like he's got to miss again, and it's going to be an uphill battle. Unfortunately, getting back. But as you say, let's hopefully we see him again. All right, this segment is brought to you by Loans 123, car loans, debt consolidations, or your personal finance. The new nuts, the person to see at Loans 123. .com.au or 1800 100 100, and Steve Sell and the team at Loans 123 still doing the things the banks can't, and they're great supporters of ours. They're great supporters of Tab Radio in general, and it's great to have them aboard here on Talking Trots. All right, let's have a look at the next race. We're going to preview with our man Bomber Hill, and it is race number 6, and it's The Game. Mobile Start, one of the Channel 7 shows. And it is, let's have a look at the Tab Touch market. We've got Mustang at $120, My Prayer $21, Sahara Storm $26, Thompson Bay $51, Getting Wiggy With It $14, Tiger Royale $14, McArdle's Gem $126, Beyond Bling $126, Naming Lights $126, and Who's the Dad off the back line at $390. Bomber, which way are we going with race number 6?
Yeah, place bet here, Rad's number 2, My Prayer. This mare's in really good form, and I think Mitch Miller will just have eyes on the 3 pegs position, with Mustang holding up and Who's the Dad trailing through behind them. Last time she came from last, had to do all the work solo and just knocked up a little bit late, and the 2 before that, she ran thirds in very fast last halves behind Wonderful to Fly and Don't Be Silly Chilly. I don't see anything making ground wide on the track here, so I think the pegs are the place to be, and she's going to get the chance to poke through into a hole at a nice enough place price.
Yeah, an interesting race here, Bomber. My Prayer, she has been doing a fair bit of work lately, and she's still responded well to that and been running creditable races, as you mentioned, pretty close up last time after making that sustained run. What's the angle here?
Yeah, 2-unit bet. She's going to need that little touch of luck, but like I said, I just can't see anything out wide making ground, so I think she'll get a chance. And
$235 the place bet for my prayer. So 2 units a place at $235 in race number 6. And the final race we're going to look at is race number 7. And as we have a look at the Tab Touch market, Up Late, Mobile Start Up Late is on the West website. If you go to the West website, you can watch the little video each night. And it's the sponsor of race number 7, naming rights. As we have a look at the Tab Touch market, we have Caribbean Lily at $12, Triple Brie 101, Extraordinary Mary at $250, Rock and Roll Sass $250, Beyond the Sea $360, Alta Queen $31, Rebline $51, Our Star Billing $101, Fleur de Marquis at $71. We got Elsa May at $23, Miss Lamar $23, Shahidi at $26. Bomber, race number 7. What do you got for us?
Yeah, Extraordinary Mary's been racing in mixing her stand start racing with mobile racing, and she's turning into a really adaptable mare. I really liked the way she hit the line last time behind the Shani Girl when she sat up in the running line and hit the line really hard late in pretty limited room. She finished third there, beating just 4 metres, and that's pretty good form for a race like this. And she got a fantastic record when leading, and with a 2 being a really slow beginner and confident the pole marker would take a sit, I think she can roll to the front with the favourite outside of her and, a main danger outside of her, and she's going to take plenty of running down.
Yeah, I agree, Bomber. I think she gets a really good opportunity here to pounce on the front and give them a lot to think about. So I think she's probably tight enough-ish at the price. I don't think she'll get in much shorter than that, but I think she can get the job done. What's the staking plan here?
Another 2-unit bet. I'm along the same sort of thinking as you. There's no massive value there, but I don't think she's going to get any shorter, and she's going to give us a really good sight.
All right, on Channel 7, Golden Slipper Night, Bomber, have you got a multi for us? Yeah,
went with what I see as 3 leaders that, really just should be winning. I think Rad's race 3, number 1, What's Up Sunshine, race 6, number 1, Mustang, and race 8, number 1, Paul Edward. all fairly short, but multi the 3 up. You're going to get a fair result, I think.
All right, I think we've got $1.60 into $1.20 into $1.30, which is just about $2.50 for the multi for those 3 runners. Bomber, a big night tomorrow night, 11 races, as I said, 10 past 5. The first, the main is race number 5 at, I think, 7:10, which is the Channel 7 Golden Slipper. Mate, thanks for your time. Hopefully we bounce back this week, but we'll talk to you next week.
You can't go any worse, Rads.
No.
Hey, Bomber.
Hey, are you still in front? I stopped watching the NRL tipping contest. Did you win the tipping contest?
No, it goes through the finals, so I'm 1 up going into the grand final, but my margin is not good enough. So if I need to get this one right, essentially, or at least tip the same as the bloke round second.
Oh, okay. So you just got to tip the Panthers?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, hopefully.
Hey, what about, just before we go, what about my man KP winning the Dally M on last night, which I think shocked a few. But I'll tell you what, when you get about 10 best on grounds, you probably deserve to be the Dally M Player of the Year. And for my Newcastle Knights, we won both the Dally M's, men and women.
Yeah, well, given his horror run of injury and stuff like that, I don't think anyone would knock him winning. That's for sure. The bloke's a serious talent. So.
Yeah, certainly the great Kalen Ponga we speak of. Hayden's a big supporter of the Newcastle Knights. I can just see him, his eyes just glazed over then.
Well, I like the colours that Rolling Fire wears.
Yeah, well, they're the Knights' colours.
So that's good enough for me. Hey, Pies or Lions, Bomber?
I'm a Lions man. I think it's a flip of the coin for mine, but I really do. I would like to see the Lions win. Chris Fagan's actually an old coach of mine back in the Tassie days, and a bit of a sentimental spot for him. So hopefully they can get the job done.
All right, the double, the Brisbane Lions into the Penrith Panthers. Is that the way you're going?
That'll do us.
Okay, all right.
Well, it's $3.40.
There you go. That's the way we're going. That's us, $3.40. Give us something to cheer both days.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, as long as Lions win. Yeah.
well, I'll definitely be watching Sunday. It might actually make me watch Saturday. So there we go. Good on you, Bomber. Thanks for that, mate. We'll speak to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, there's Scott Bomber Hill looking to bounce back. Tell you what, last week, the Mares race, Hayden, pretty exciting racing at the Bell when Junior came around and there was moves aplenty and didn't think the leader was going to hand over. The fireworks started. It was action-packed.
Yeah, it was a really hard-fought run to the wire. Beyond the Sea was emerging from nowhere as well, but Ashani Girl, she's pretty tough and she's hard to get past, and she did it again. So she's continuing that upward trajectory and expect to see her competitive in the Mares races.
The Mares races are going to be fantastic, aren't they? Ashani Girl, Wonderful to Fly. There's a few out there that are really starting to emerge as horses to beat.
Yeah, and all the better for our summer carnival.
Yeah, certainly. And as I said, at the Bell, I think Don't Be Silly Chili and Ashani Girl charged up outside Queen in the corner, but Gary Hall Jr. again with senior with Ashani Girl, and they pulled out too much in the run to the line.
Ashani Girl has burst clear now with Stormy Skies giving chase. Don't Be Silly the Chili the inside, then came Alta Queen. Ashani Girl break clear. Stormy Skies is running on through the middle now. The leader is Ashani Girl though from Stormy Skies. Sweeping home late is Rock and Roll Sass and also Extraordinary Mary, but Ashani Girl big win, beat home Stormy Skies. Extraordinary Mary's in a photo.
You are listening to Talking Trots with Mortz and Michael Radley.
He is going back and forth over Silver Star Lombo to second, and they were ahead of them by El Paso de Marco, Velvet Shadow and Swanborn Spark, but 6 are the best for Shannon Savalco. It's a half dozen and a day out. Down to the line goes Karuba and wins. Second, Velvet Shadow. Third, Swanborn Spark.
Yeah, we mentioned at the start of the show that it was Shannon 6 at Killabarron on Sunday. And most importantly for us, Hayden, you tipped Karuba for us at better than $3. What did it open? $3.60 into $3, something like that?
Yep. So we got something, hopefully.
Got the cash. Good result. And, 6 for Shannon Savalco, as we said, which is just an amazing amount of winners at one meeting by anyone's standards.
It doesn't matter where it is.
Sure.
It doesn't make it any easier. So well done to Shannon, and Karuba's a horse he's had an affinity with for a long time. So well done to him. And Karuba's actually in again on Tuesday, probably some winning chance. Has drawn very, very awkwardly indeed. So I'm tipping against her, but she's in good form.
All right. Now, before we get to your tips this week, we got this segment brought to you by Bayswater Mazda. Driving is better in a Bayswater Mazda, corner of Guildford and Garrett Roads. And go and see them. Not only the best new Mazdas, but there's plenty of used cars there. And if you need a car, go and see the great team at Bayswater Mazda. That's where Mortz buys all his cars from, and he's got a few. And they're great supporters of us here at Tab Radio, Bayswater Mazda. All right, we got the cash last week with Karuba. Your cryptic tip didn't get the cash, Hayden, but apparently everyone got it.
Yeah, so I need to be more cryptic next time.
Don't be silly Chili, who made the race interesting.
Yeah.
Didn't win, but made the race interesting.
No, and
Put plenty of pressure on.
I think she probably, although she did a lot of work, I think she probably didn't go as good as she did the run before when she went 155 and beat Wonderful to Fly. So providing she can bounce back to that better form, I'm sure we can see her in the mares races coming up.
Yep, for sure. All right, the races following Gloucester Park. Well, we've got Narrogin as the co-Friday night race meeting on Friday night. 8 races, the first at 5:55. I think Emily Savalco's gone to Narrogin to drive on Friday night rather than Gloucester Park. We've got Pinjarra Monday with 8 races, the first at 1:17. And we've got Gloucester Park on Tuesday with 9 races on Tuesday. Hayden, which way are we going? You're actually doing Sky Channel tips at Gloucester Park Friday night?
Yeah, so I've done the form for GP, so hopefully I can find some winners there tomorrow. I've got a couple of interesting theories.
Okay, pre-race?
I'll lay out pre-race, yeah. And I've actually I've skipped over. Karuba's actually racing again tomorrow night as well.
Okay.
At Narrogin, so she's probably a chance there.
Okay.
So just speaking of her, but yeah, looking forward to GP tomorrow.
All right. Cody takes the drive on Karuba tomorrow night for Peter Tilbrook at Narrogin. All right. Where are we going to go? We got Narrogin, as I said. We got Narrogin Friday night, then nothing on the Saturday, Sunday, and then we back up Pinjarra Monday, Gloucester Park Tuesday. What do you got for us?
I'm going to Gloucester Park Tuesday, but I will say Pinjarra Monday is a really good card of racing, and so is Tuesday at Gloucester Park. We've got some big fields and some nice horses going around. For my one tip, I did the in and out last week, and I'll do it again.
Okay.
It's Gloucester Park Tuesday, race 6, number 1, Toravi and Amy. She has really good gate speed, and she raced yesterday at Bunbury in a race. They went 157.2, and she was close up in finishing 4th behind the likes of William G's Legacy Advantage and Disco Dynamo. So there's some pretty handy horses. Drops back to fillies and mares grade on Tuesday. Should be out in front and looks like returning to winning ways. Race 6, number 1.
Not a bad field, the fillies and mares in that race. A few horses that has had previous form a few years ago in Queen of the Corner and Block Jorg, but not a bad fillies and mares race tomorrow for Torovine Amy. Sam Torre and Denny Roberts combining your one tip. Have you got a cryptic tip for us? Have you apparently it was too easy last week to get.
Okay, well, I wasn't going to give you one, but I'll come up with one right now. Yeah. Okay.
On the spot. This will be good.
I think this horse will be dangerous.
Okay, dangerous. This horse will be dangerous. At Gloucester Park tomorrow night?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Hopefully it's a little bit harder for the punters out there. They apparently everyone got it. Our 4 listeners, every one of them got it.
Well, yeah.
Okay. This horse will be dangerous tomorrow night at Gloucester Park. Anything else for us? It's been a big show. Mick Stanley, great.
Yeah, good to chat to Mick.
She's come up a bit short, hasn't she? The Soho Seraphine.
I didn't think she'd be anywhere close to being that short. So
$1.15.
She'd probably win, especially if Purist Copper wants to give her the front. Purist Copper's not electric out, but I think she'll do enough to hold those outside her, and then she could take the cover on Soho Seraphine, or she could try and hold the front and see what Soho Seraphine's made of, but we'll see.
Yep. Going into an Oaks a week before. Interesting tactics for the first. But great to have her over here, though.
Purist Copper probably has the luxury of already being in the Oaks field. So if he did want to hand up, then he'd be okay to still get in and run the place. Yeah.
Yeah, and but great to have her over here because it adds something with the Victorian horse coming over. No doubt there's plenty of interest next week in the Oaks when she tackles our best 3-year-old fillies. And the Golden Slipper, you're with Manhattan Moon to upset the favourite Vegas Strip and Bombers Tip.
Yeah, I don't know. I sound like John Hunt in the 2004 Inter Dominion.
Actually, Hunty will be there tomorrow night. Hunty's actually going to be part of the presentation to Chris Lewis for his 6,000 winners.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's good because they had that great friendship and all those years ago in Hunty's final call, Chris Lewis won that race.
Yeah, and so Hunty's going to come out. We've got a big frame picture of commemorating his 6,000 winners.
Is he going to call the 11th?
He may. He might. He loves a race. We might get you to call the 10th and he can call the 11th.
Yeah,
Richie would love that.
I'll still be there.
Richie will love that.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
He can take off.
He'll be in Swanbourne by 9:30.
But no, it'd be great to have Hunty there. He's going to be the MC for the presentation after. We had to do it straight after the Golden Slipper because Chris doesn't have a drive in race number 6. So it's pretty hard to get Chris on a Friday night. Usually he's driving in most races, but he's got race 6 off, so straight off the Golden Slipper presentation we'll have the presentation to Chris, and it's a beautiful frame, a picture that Scott Hamilton's designed, and it's wonderful, and I think it's a great memento for Chris and Deb to commemorate his a wonderful achievements of becoming the 3rd ever driver nationally to drive 6,000, the first ever in WA.
Yeah, and as you touched on earlier, all the more impressive in the sense that we don't have as much racing here in the West. So to be doing that across what must be a 50-year career now.
Yeah, and to be still going as strong as he is in the 5th decade is staggering, isn't it?
Well, where's he ranked? He's probably in top 3 or 4 in WA still. He's probably 3rd.
Yeah. On the premierships, yeah.
He's 4th.
There you go.
So, yeah. Speaks volumes of his longevity and his durability.
It sure does. All right. Hayden, thanks for filling in. No doubt Mort will be back next week after his sojourn over to the east. Thanks for your time. You'll be back next week?
Yep.
All right, beautiful. We'll see you then. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Hopefully we've found a few winners. Until next week, it's bye for now.